You don't respond. Shri Bhadraniravaccha Ailasya Korvashi Garbat Shadasara Majanrpa Ayushrutayu Satyaya Rayota Vijayo Vijaya. Shukadev Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, from the womb of Urvashi, 6 sons were generated by Pururava. Their names were Ayu, Shrutayu, Satyayu, Raya, Vijaya, and Jaya. So all of these were great saintly kings. So just by hearing their name, you become purified. So listen attentively. Just hear the name and you get some benefit even. Every verse of Bhagavatam is purifying. Shrutayor Vasuman Putra Satyayoscha Shrutanjayo Rajasa Sura Ekascha Jayasya Tanayo Mita Bhimastu Vijayasyata Kanchana Hotra Kastata Tasya Janu Sutu Gangam Gandushi Krityayo Pibat. The son of Shrutayu was Vasuman. The son of Satyayu, Shrutanjaya. The son of Raya, Eka. The son of Jaya, Amita. And the son of Vijaya, Bhima. The son of Bhima was Kanchana. The son of Kanchana was Hotrika. And the son of Hotrika was Janu, who drank all the water of the Ganga in one sip. Janu drank all the water of the Ganga in one sip. Janostu Purusthasya Balakas Chatmajo Jagaha Tata Kausha Kushasyapi Kushambustanayo Vasu Kushanabuscha Chatvardo Gatir Asid Kushambuja. The son of Janu was Puru. The son of Puru was Balaka. The son of Balaka was Ajaka. And the son of Ajaka was Kusha. Kusha had 4 sons named Kushambu, Tanaya, Vasu, Kushanaba. The son of Kushambu was Gadi. Now we come to the verse that we'll recite today. Text 5 and 6, chapter 15, 9th canto. Tasya Satyavatim Kanyam Rachiko Yachata Dvijaha Varam Vishadrisham Matva Gatir Bhargavam Abravit Ekataya Shama Karnanam Hayanam Chandavarjasam Sahasram Diyatam Shulukam Kanyaya Kushaka Vayam Tasya Satvavatim Kanyam Tasya Satvavatim Kanyam Richiko Yachata Dvijaha Varam Vishadrisham Matva Gatir Bhargavam Abravit Ekata Shamakarnanam Ayanam Chandavarjasham Sahasram Diyatam Shulkam Kanyaya Kushikavayam Tasya Satvavatim Kanyam Richiko Yachata Dvijaha Varam Vishadrisham Matva Gadir Bhargavam Abravit Ekadashyam karnanam Hayanam Chandravarjasam Sahasram Diyatam Shulukam Kanyaya Kushikavayam. Bolo. Please. Tasya sattvavitim kanyam Mishiko yachata dvijaha Bharam vishadrisambhara Gadir bhargavamabravit Ekata shamakarnanam Ayanam chandravarjasam Sasam diyatam shulkam Kanyaya kushikavayam. Kasya satatim dasyam Mrichiko yachata dvijaha Bharam vishadrisham matva Gadir bhargavamabravit Ikata swamakarnanam Ayanam chandravarjasam Sahasram diyatam shukam Kanyaya kushikavayam. Someone else? Tasya sattvavitim kanyam Michiko rachata dvija Bharam visharidam bhattva Gadir bhargavamabravit Ekata shamakarnanam Ayanam chandravarjasam Sahasradiyatam shukam Kanyaya kushikavayam. Matajis. Tasya tasyatpatim kanyam Michiko yachata dvija Bharam vishadam bhatva Gadir bhargavamabhavit Ekata shamakarnanam Ayanam chandravarjasam Varasam siyatam shukam Kanyaya kushikavayam. Tasya of Gadi. Satyavatim. Satyavati. Kanyam, the daughter. Richikaha, the great sage Richika. Ayachata, requested. Dvijaha, the Brahman. Varam, as her husband. Vishadrisham, not equal or fit. Matva, thinking like that. Gadi, King Gadi. Bhargavam, unto Richika. Abravit replied, Ekata, by one. Shama Karnanam, whose ear is black. Hayanam, horses. Chandavarjasham, as brilliant as the moonshine. Sahasram, 1,000. Diyatam, please deliver. Shulkam, as a dowry. Kanyayaha, to my daughter. Kushikaha, in the family of Kusha. Vayam, we are. Translation by Srila Prabhupada and purport. King Gadi had a daughter named Satyavati, whom a Brahmin sage named Richika requested from the king to be his wife. King Gadi, however, regarded Richika as an unfit husband for his daughter, and therefore he told the Brahmana, quote, "My dear sir, I belong to the dynasty of Kusha. Because we are aristocratic Kshatriyas, you have to give some dowry for my daughter. Therefore, bring at least 1,000 horses, each as brilliant as moonshine, and each having one black ear, whether right or left," unquote. Purport. The son of King Gadi was Vishvamitra, who was said to be a Brahmana and Kshatriya combined. Vishvamitra attained the status of Brahmarshi, as explained later. From the marriage of Satyavati with Richika Muni would come a son with the spirit of a Kshatriya. King Gadi demanded that an uncommon request be fulfilled before the Brahman Richika could marry his daughter. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnuvadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastatya Deshatarine. So the point that I wish to elaborate on in this purport, very short purport, is about this issue of Brahman and Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. These varnas are determined by one's qualifications, qualities and activities, not by one's birth. Now the case here is of Vishvamitra, and Vishvamitra was originally born as a king, and in his life, early part of his life, he acted as a great king. And then there's a long story of how Vishvamitra went to see one time Vasishta, and then Vasishta wanted to entertain Vishvamitra because he was taking care of his guest. Vishvamitra, however, didn't want to be served. He said, "I'm satisfied. I will go away. You're a great Brahman. I don't wish to demand anything. Just the fruits and roots that you've given are sufficient." But Vasishta continually requested the king, Vishvamitra, to please him and to give him, to let him take some foodstuffs and so on, to serve him nicely. Finally, Vishvamitra relented and said, "Okay, you can serve me and my king." He came with a whole army, actually. And so then, but Vasishta seems to just be an ordinary sage. He's just a great Brahmin. He doesn't have any great wealth. How can he, or even they're living in the forest, they only have fruits and roots. When Ramachandra went to the forest, he subsisted simply on fruits and roots. I don't even think they were taking grain. So this was the lifestyle, actually, of these great sages. They would not eat grains, simply subsisting on the forest vegetables, roots, and vegetables, and so on. But then Vasishta had this special cow called Sabala, and he called forth this Sabala cow. It was a very celestial cow, and from this cow came so much things, all grains and so much milk and so many different things, unbelievable things. It's unimaginable how, inconceivable how so many things were produced from this cow. But it was a very special cow, not an earthly cow. And so then Vishwamitra was satisfied with that offering, but except that one thing, he wanted that Sabala cow. And he demanded it, actually, and eventually he stole the cow from Vishwamitra. And then there's a long story of how Vasishta and Vishwamitra got into a quarrel and so on. I don't want to elaborate on all of that long history, but Vishwamitra then underwent very, very severe austerities, extremely severe austerities, and eventually was awarded by Brahma the position to be this Brahma Rishi, Maharshi. And so then we see, for example, we were hearing the pastimes of Ramachandra recently. In those pastimes, then Vishwamitra comes to Ramachandra and requests that Ram and Lakshman kill certain demons that were polluting their sacrifice, and then Vishwamitra gives Ram various celestial weapons and so on. So the point is that Vishwamitra started his life as a king, and in fact lived a considerable number of years as a king. But then, by performance of austerities, he became a Brahmana. So the point in that case, and there are many other cases in the Shastra of how someone may be born in a Brahmin family, but if he behaves as a Brahmana, someone who may be born in some other caste, some other Varna, but if he behaves as a Brahmana, then he is to be accepted as a Brahmana. Of course, and this is the basis of the Krishna consciousness movement also. Prabhupada wanted to make a society of Brahmanas, because at the present time there are no Brahmanas, and therefore all of society is in chaos. There's no Brahmanas, there's no Kshatriyas, there's just barely Vaishyas, and mostly Sudras and less than Sudras. Mostly everyone in this day is Malecha and Yavana, completely impious, eating meat and so on. Even in India now, we find actually I come from San Francisco, Berkeley area, and there we find so many Hindus come, most of them, maybe 60-70% are not even vegetarian. So they, practically speaking, they've all become Malechas by their activity, even though they may have been born in India. So, point is, in this day and age, everyone is born a Sudra, Kalau Sudra Sambhava. Why is that? That's because in this day and age, the Garbhadan Samskara are not performed properly. So everyone is born Sudra. Even those persons who are born in Brahmin families, practically speaking, they're Sudras. Maybe some exceptional cases are there. We can tell a Brahmana by his quality. He doesn't become a servant of anyone. He doesn't take up an occupation. He's always engaged in various activities, which I'll describe now. So the key of our movement, though, is that one may be born in any particular family, whether in the Western world or even in India or wherever, but by the process of initiation, one can become a Brahmana. So Sanatana Goswami says, Yata kanchanatam yati kamsam rasa vidanataha tata diksha vidanena dvijatam jayate nunam. As bell metal, when mixed with mercury, is transformed to gold, a person, even though not golden pure, can be transformed into a Brahmana or a Dvija, simply by the initiation process. This is from Hari Bhakti Vilas, Chapter 2, Text 12. Now, Prabhupada, when he comments on this, he says, it's not, though, that we just take anybody and initiate them. People have to, who come to the Krishna consciousness movement, they have to undergo austerity, too. We have to rise early in the morning for Mangalarti. We have to take up the 4 regulative principles. And we have to chant, most importantly, the positive thing is that we chant Hare Krishna. Because by this chanting of the holy name of Krishna, one becomes purified. So that's actually the key to this initiation process of Sanatana Goswami, is that by the process of chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can become purified, and one, even though one may be born in some low-caste family, or not even part of the Vedic culture, Malecha, Yavana, or Chandala, or whatever, by the chanting Hare Krishna, one can rise to this higher platform. Of course, we also have so much books and knowledge that have been given. So it's not simply chanting Hare Krishna, we also are reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and learning so much knowledge. Prabhupada would criticize these other gurus who would give initiation simply for some price, maybe pay $30 and then get some mantra. Like there's one, in the 70s there was one famous yogi who came to the West. He simply, for a certain price, he would give you a mantra. And it was actually some Gayatri mantra. I think the second mantra of the Gayatri mantra, he would give those for a price. Prabhupada would criticize this, that how he could charge a price. This is nonsense, guru. So it's not simply by artificial means, not simply by initiating. No, but people have to have some moral standard. And one has to, most importantly, chant this holy name of Krishna. Namas chintamana Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nityamukta Binatam Namanami Naho. This holy name of Krishna is very powerful. It's just like the Chintamani. The Chintamani is a special kind of gem that, so this Chintamani, the holy name is compared to the Chintamani, and so anyone who comes in contact with the holy name of Krishna becomes purified. Just like the sun, we take the sun, it purifies even the most filthy place without becoming contaminated itself. The holy name of Krishna is not conditioned or contaminated by the modes of material nature. It's full of all spiritual rasa, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. That's because the holy name of Krishna and Krishna himself are non-different. You could say, well, Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago and now he's no longer here with us. So then, and you may lament. But actually Krishna is present in the form of his holy name. In this day and age, the incarnation, the avatar for this time right now is this holy name of Krishna. So similarly, one can associate with Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita by hearing the sound vibration. There is Vani and there's Vapu. One can serve the spiritual master in his form, physical form, or one can serve him through his Vani or instructions and associate with him through his Vani. We can hear the instructions of Krishna, Prabhupada, and so on. All these great personalities of Bhagavatam, we can associate with them by hearing their instruction. Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai, Shri Shri Jagannath Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Rasa Bihari Ji Ki Jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai. But then we can also test whether someone has become a Brahmana or not. Someone may say, okay, now I am Brahmana, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, now I am Brahmana. Actually, no one will say that. No one will say, oh, now I'm chanting Hare Krishna, now I'm Brahmana. Generally, devotees take a very humble position. Even though they are most exalted, they actually take a very humble position. You take the example of Krishnadas Kaviraj. He is the most exalted devotee, first-class Brahmana, first-class Vaishnava, but he thinks himself lower than a worm and stool. So we always should be taking a very humble position. We should never become proud of whatever brahminical qualities that we might have attained by practice of Krishna consciousness. We should always think ourselves very low. Because as soon as you become proud, then you fall down. And we see the source of so much trouble in the past is Brahmanas became proud of their position, and then they fell down because of that. But in any case, one can judge a Brahmana. Maybe a Brahmana will not say I'm Brahmana, but at least we can tell by other qualifications who is a Brahmana. Krishna says very clearly in Bhagavad Gita, Shamo Dhammas taposo cham shantir arjavam eva cha jnana vijnanam ashtikam brahma karma svabhavajam. Brahmana is Shamo. He's peaceful. He's Dhamma, self-controlled. Practices austerity. He's pure, Socham. Shantir, he's tolerant. He's Arjavam, he's honest. He's full of knowledge and full of wisdom, Vijnanam. Sometimes Prabhupada translates that Vijnanam as scientific knowledge. He has realized knowledge also, not just theoretical knowledge. Then there's more, and the Shastras elaborates this more. Secondly, we can also know the duties of a Brahmana. He is Patan, in other words, he's conversing with the Vedic scriptures, and Patan, he's teaching others. So a Brahmana is a teacher also. He's learning Shastra and then he teaches. He just doesn't keep the knowledge for himself, but he instructs others. And then Yajan, he's performing different worship. We engage in deity worship and so on. Some devotees have even know how to perform so many different kind of yajna. But then they also impart that yajan. They teach others how to perform that yajan, Vedic rituals and worship of the deity and so on. And then dana and pratigyaha. They give charity and they accept charity. Generally, a Brahmana does not keep money. As soon as he gets money, he distributes it. Now then, in other scripture, we get 12 qualities of the Brahmana. Jnanam cha satyam cha dhamma shrutam cha yamarksharyam ristikshana suya yagyascha dhanam cha dritti shamascha Mahavrata Dusharta Brahmanasya. These are the 12 qualities of a Brahmana. 1. Following religious principles. 2. Speaking truthfully. 3. Controlling senses by undergoing austerities and penances. 4. Being freed from jealousy. 5. Being intelligent. 6. Being tolerant. 7. Creating no enemies. 8. Performing yajna. 9. Giving charity. 10. Being steady. 11. Being well versed in Vedic study. And 12. Observing vows. So we see in general, devotees are very tolerant. This is a principle actually that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught all of his followers. Trinadapi sanichena tarorapi sahishtina. One should be more tolerant than a tree. We see the tree is standing in the courtyard. So much sun is beating down on it every day. I don't think anybody can stand in this courtyard in the Indian summer. Impossible. But the tree is standing there. Similarly, the monsoon comes. So much torrents of rain come. Stands there tolerantly. So we have to be like that. We have to be tolerant. And similarly, we should offer respect for others, but not expect respect from others. So in this way, we can chant the holy name of Krishna. Now this is slow. If you follow this instruction of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Chaitanya said we should wear this verse around our neck. Then we get one of the qualities of a Brahmana. We see by nature the Sudras are intolerant, always complaining about this and that thing. They can't tolerate anything. But a Brahmana is always tolerating. He doesn't complain. Now, you may be a manager, then you have your duty is to complain and solve problems. But if you're not a manager, don't worry about it. Tolerate whatever may be the problems. This thing is not working, that thing is not working, water is not coming, too hot, too cold, no fan, whatever may be the problem. We have to tolerate these things. Because otherwise we concern ourselves with so much disturbances, we'll never chant Hare Krishna. We'll be worried about solving those problems. Then very clearly then, the position, first of all, the qualifications of a Brahmana and his activities are very clearly stated in the Shastras. So we can tell who is a Brahmana and who is not. So then it is said that also on this point of who is a Brahmana and also on the point of birth, it's very important verse is given in the 7th canto of Bhagavatam, 11th chapter, text 35. Everyone should know this verse. Yasya ya lakshanam proktam punkso varna bivyanjakam yaranyatrapi drishyeta tadtanaiva vanirdashet. Those of you who are memorizing verses, they should remember, add this to your list of verses to memorize. Yasya ya lakshanam proktam. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, as described above, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. Point is that if you have the qualifications and symptoms, key word here is lakshanam. Lakshanam means characteristics or symptoms of a Brahmana, then you're a Brahmana. Now, the next point, though, that we want to understand is this point about devotional service. And one who is engaged in devotional service is automatically a Brahmana. But on the other hand, one who may be a Brahmana is not automatically a Vaishnava. The one who is a Vaishnava is automatically a Brahmana. So that means we can see, basically, if we simply follow devotional service, automatically we get these qualities of a Brahmana. So much Shastra is given to make this point. The one who is engaged in devotional service is a Brahmana. Chandalo pi dvijashreshto hari bhakti parayanaha hari bhakti vinascha vihinascha dvijo pi swapachadamaha. Even if one is born in the family of a Chandala, if one engages in the devotional service of the Lord, he becomes the best of the Brahmanas. But even a Brahmana who is devoid of devotional service is on the level of the lowest dog eater. That's pretty bad. It puts these Smarta Brahmanas in bad shape. They're the lowest of dog eater. Hopefully there's none. Hopefully no one is being offended right now. But the point is even if one is born in the family of a Chandala, if one engages in devotional service of the Lord, he becomes the best of the Brahmanas. But then you shouldn't think, oh, now I'm Brahmana, now I'm engaged in devotional service. Don't think that way, because that's actually the source of pride then. We'll see later on. I'll tell the story of Jadu Thakur. Maybe we can talk a little bit about Jadu Thakur now. And Kalidas. In Chaitanya Charitamrita and Antya Leela, there's a very nice story of Kalidas. Kalidas was in the family of Raghunath Das Thakur. It was a relative of Raghunath Das Thakur. He had this tendency of taking the remnants and dust of all the Vaishnavas in Bengal everywhere he would go. He would do different tricks too to get their remnants, because most of the Vaishnavas wouldn't give their remnants so easily. So he would hide outside their house, and he would give them mangoes, and then he would hide outside the house, and they would throw the mango after they had eaten it, and he would take the mango and suck on it and feel great ecstasy. Now, this is Kalidas. And so in particular, the case that we might want to study today is that Kalidas went to this one Jadu Thakur. Now, Jadu Thakur externally was born in a very low caste family. The name of the caste that he was born in is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I can't even recognize what it is right now, but that's not important, maybe. The point is that although Jadu Thakur seemed to be born in a low caste family, he was a most exalted Vaishnava, engaged in chanting the holy name, and had so much fully engaged in devotional service. Kalidas knew that he was a great devotee, so he went to see Jadu Thakur. And he offered obeisances, and Jadu Thakur offered obeisances to him, and then spoke for some time, exchanging some scripture about this point of Brahmana. And so then, as I was mentioning, then he was able to get the mango, that the remnants of Jadu Thakur, and felt great ecstasy on taking it. Now, in the course of that discussion between Jadu Thakur and Kalidas, many important verses are given which establish this point about the one who is engaged in devotional service is a Brahmana. You can mention some of these things, not some of these verses. Another principle, too, that I'm reminded of is one who engages in devotional service, even basic principle of Bhagavad Gita, mam chayo vicharena, bhakti yogena, sevate, saganan samatityaitam, brahmavuyaya kalpate. One who engages in devotional service at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus attains to devotional service. One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature, and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So if you're engaged fully in devotional service, then you transcend, jump over these modes of material nature. It's not a fight with them anymore, you simply transcend them. So one verse in particular we can meditate on also is Prahlad Maharaj's teachings in the 7th canto. He says, if a Brahmana has all 12 of the Brahminical qualifications, and I quoted those earlier, but is not a devotee and is averse to the lotus feet of the Lord, he is certainly lower than a devotee who is a dog-eater, but who has dedicated everything, mind, words, activities, wealth, and life to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee is better than such a Brahmana, because the devotee can purify his whole family, whereas the Brahmana, in a position of false prestige, cannot purify even himself. Similarly, it says, excuse me, Bhagavan Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastram Japastapaha Apranasya Vadeyasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. If one is born in a high family, like that of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya, but is not a devotee of the Lord, all his good qualifications as a Brahman, Kshatriya, or Vaishya are null and void. Indeed, they are considered decorations of a dead body. Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam, simply decoration of a dead body. Simply being born in a high family, and even having good qualifications of a Brahmana or Kshatriya, so on, they're all null and void. If they're like decorations of a dead body if one is not a devotee of the Lord. Another verse. Name bhaktas chaturvedi mad bhaktas swapacho priyaha tasmai deyam tato grayam sacha pujo yatahyayam. Even though one is a very learned scholar in Sanskrit literature, if he is not engaged in pure devotional service, he is not accepted as my devotee. But if someone born in a family of dog-eaters is a pure devotee, with no motives for enjoyment through fruitive activity or mental speculation, he is very dear to me. All respect should be given to him, and whatever he offers should be accepted. For such devotees are indeed worshipable as I am. And then there are a couple of verses that Prabhupada quotes very often in this regard. Aho badaso pachato garayan ya shiva gre vardate namatubhyam te pustapaste yuva sastanarya brahmanachur namagrinante yate. Also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes this verse at various times. My dear Lord, anyone who always keeps your holy name on his tongue is greater than an initiated brahmana. Although he may be born in a family of dog-eaters, and therefore by material calculation be the lowest of men, he is glorious nevertheless. That is the wonderful power of chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who chants the holy name is understood to have performed all kinds of austerities. He has studied all the Vedas. He has performed all the great sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas, and he has already taken his bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage. It is he who is factually the Aryan. Oh, then the key then to life, spiritual life, is this chanting of the holy name of Krishna. We should take it up very carefully. We're chanting these days every day 10 offenses against the holy name of the Lord. We should be very careful to avoid these offenses. We should chant very attentively, not doing other things while we're chanting. So many different kinds of japa are there. Reading other things while chanting, checking your phone while chanting. Most importantly, falling asleep. You see so much. Sit down after a Mangal Arti and what happens? Bedtime. Devotees start falling asleep. So if you fall asleep, get up and walk around. It's nice and warm now. Walk around the building. Stay awake and chant the holy name. So we should chant attentively. Another verse, Sujayona ijatasya shadgunanupatishtata arjave radamanasya brahmanyana abhijayate. If a person born in a Sudra family has developed the qualities of a Brahmana, such as Satya, Shama, Dhamma, Arjava, in other words, truthfulness, peacefulness, self-control, simplicity, he attains the exalted position of a Brahmana. It's by qualification, then, one is a Brahmana, not by birth. Now, birth may help a little bit. Naturally, if you're born in a Brahmin, if you're born in a doctor's family, your father may say, well, why don't you become a doctor when you grow up? So then you go to school. Similarly, one may be born in a Brahmin family, then your father sends you to the Gurukul. You learn how to be a Brahmana. You get the qualifications and activities of a Brahmana. And Father, from our parents, we learn so much principles of cleanliness and so on. So naturally, someone born in a Brahmin family will have that opportunity of so much good association and cleanliness and so many good principles. But we see the tendency is, even in devotee families, one may be born in a devotee family, but then one may deviate from that. So simply being born in a good family and having good parents teaching you so many things isn't necessarily enough. One the child himself or herself has to have that enthusiasm for devotional service and following Brahminical qualities and so on. There's another verse from Mahabharata. It's a long verse, I won't say the whole part. This is the first line. Tito brahmanas dharmena brahmananyam upajivati. If one is factually situated in the occupation of a brahmana, he must be considered a brahmana, even if born in a Kshatriya Vaishya family. O Devi, even if one is born a Sudra, if he is actually engaged in the occupation and pure behavior of a brahmana, he becomes a brahmana. Moreover, a Vaishya can become a Kshatriya. Therefore, neither the source of one's birth, nor his reformation, nor his education is the criteria of a brahmana. The vritta, or occupation, is the real standard by which one is known as a brahmana. So one may be educated as a brahmana, but if he acts like a Sudra, then he's a Sudra. And then Prabhupada gives an example when explaining this. He says, we have seen that a person who is not the son of a doctor and who has not attended medical college is sometimes able to practice medicine. By practical knowledge of how to perform a surgical operation, how to mix medicine, how to give certain medicines for certain diseases, a person can receive a certificate and be registered as a medical practitioner in the practical field. He has to undergo somebody had to have given him that knowledge. But maybe he didn't go to school, but at least he learned from another doctor how to be a doctor. So then he's recognized by the government to be a doctor. Similarly, we may be born in a low-caste family, we come in contact with the Krishna consciousness movement by education, by qualification, by association with the devotees, can be raised to the Brahminical platform. One more verse and then we'll have questions. Na sudra bhagavad bhaktistu bhagavata mata sarva varneshu te sudra yena bhakta janardanaha. A devotee should never be considered a Sudra. It's important. A devotee should never be considered a Sudra. All the devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be recognized as Bhagavats. If one is not a devotee of Lord Krishna, however, even if born in a Brahmin, Kshatriya, or Vaishya family, he should be considered a Sudra. So when we see our fellow devotees, we should see them, we should never consider them as Sudra. That's the point of this verse. Na Sudra Bhagavad Bhaktas. Na Sudra Bhagavad Bhaktas. Never consider a devotee a Sudra. Okay, any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yogo Brashto Abhijayate. So here in today's verse, we understand that if somebody takes his birth in a family of devotees or brahmanas, and if he doesn't have those qualities, then we consider him as non-devotee. But Krishna is saying that only those unsuccessful yogis who could not finish their Krishna consciousness will be given a chance to take birth in family of devotees or righteous people. So how do we understand these two statements?
Well, I think the point is that if we have to be careful about judging devotees. And generally speaking, anyone who has even chanced the holy name of Krishna, we should consider to be a devotee. Even a little bit of chanting, we should recognize him to be a devotee. So it's better. Actually, the Mahabhagavat sees everyone as devotee. Only the Madhyama Adhikari, he comes down to this platform of distinguishing between devotee and non-devotee. But actually, in actuality, everyone is devotee. Even the person who acts as an outright demon is actually a devotee in one sense, although he's acting like a asura. And we actually see even cases of that because we were learning about Ravana. This has been about Ram Leela in the last few days. Even though Ravana is a great, terrible, terrible Rakshasa demon, asura, he's actually a devotee in disguise. And at the end of his life, he even gives some verses, I think. There are some verses that Ravana wrote. So we have to be very careful and just consider everyone devotee, basically, and then we'll be on the safe side and don't judge anybody. Of course, maybe only people who have to judge, I think, are the persons who are the guru, the preacher, and the manager. Those are only the ones who really have to be very distinguishing between devotee and non-devotee. But even the preacher, he is thinking, oh, this person, and the manager, he is thinking, oh, this person is acting like non-devotee, therefore I should preach to him and make him devotee. And unless he's very stubborn and very hard-hearted, he'll become devotee by your preaching and association. We see even the most hard-hearted persons, they come in contact with this movement, they may not even take up the chanting, but at least maybe they come and like to go to Govindas. They like to come and just offer obeisances but go away. They won't take up the chanting. So many people come every day to take darshan here, but they don't take up the chanting. They don't take up our principles and so on. But at least they come and take darshan, so we accept them as devotee. Maybe in their next life, just because they came to the temple, took turn Amrita, offered obeisances, then next life, they'll have an opportunity to be born in a devotee family or take up devotional service. So, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, here we see that in those times, person, here we see Rishika Rishi, so he is giving dowry. His Satyavati father is asking dowry for to get her daughter, but nowadays we see opposite. Means women they only give dowry to the person who is going to get married, and they give their daughter. So what made these things to change in the due course of time?
Well, it's so much. Because people, essential principle is people have turned away from Krishna or God, turned away from Narayan, Vishnu. So many brahmanas are there, they turned away. They've turned their Shalagram Shila into a nut-cracking device in some places. Prabhupada says that. So the brahmanas have fallen down, and so much, all the varnas and so on have fallen down. Practically everyone now, as I was saying, Kalau Sudra Sambhava, everyone is Sudra in this day and age, and they're acting like Sudra. So therefore they do adopt so many bad practices and so on that are not according to Shastra. So we simply have to live with that. I didn't mention, I was going to mention a little bit this. Something reminded me of it when you said something there, but the point is that this sage, we'll see in a few verses later, this Richika Muni, he was able to meet this request. He's just a simple Muni, but by his yogic power, he generates so much horses and so on. Similarly, this Vashishta and Vishwamitra, they have so much Brahminical power. They do such amazing things. Like, for example, this Vishwamitra, I was reading how this Vishwamitra and Vashishta, they got into a fight with each other, and then Vishwamitra used so many celestial weapons against Vashishta and destroyed his hermitage and everything. But then the next one, Vashishta generates his whole hermitage again by his power. And you can see even this very simple verse that we are reading, Yata Kanchanatam Yati Kamsam Rasa Vidanataha. As bell metal, when mixed with mercury, is transformed into gold, a person, even though not gold and pure, can be transformed into a brahmana or dvija simply by the Brahminical, by initiation process. So the point is that bell metal can be turned into gold. This process was known in ancient India. Even Sanatana Goswami had this special stone that would turn base metal into gold. In the Western world, the alchemists were looking for this process for a long time. I have a chemistry background, so know a little bit about this. The alchemists in Europe, they were looking for this process to turn bell metal into gold. They spent a lot of time doing that. As far as I know, no one was ever successful. But in India, it seems like it was a routine process turning bell metal into gold. Otherwise, why does Sanatana Goswami use that as an example? He says, as bell metal can be turned into gold, that means you can do it. Right now, modern science can't do that. Now, I should say, theoretically, there's nothing in modern science which prevents this from happening. Nuclear chemistry allows this to be possible. The only thing is that it's not a practical thing. Modern scientists can turn bell metal into gold, but only at a very small, you could say, microgram scale. Can't scale it up. It's not, you have to put so much energy into the process it would never be feasible or practical. You'd have to spend millions of dollars to do it on a big scale. So it's not practical. But in the ancient time, they could do it. Similarly, these great munis, they understood the laws of physics and material nature, and they could generate so much wonderful things. Vasishtha could completely rebuild his hermitage overnight. And so many wonderful things were possible in the ancient time because they had a higher understanding of material nature and how the elements work. So that was something to think about. And that knowledge is given in Bhagavatam also. The basic essential principles of how the material nature are worked are given in Bhagavatam in 3rd Canto, 26th chapter, and we study those things in the Institute, Bhaktivedanta Institute, where I work, D-Service, 2nd floor. Come and visit sometime. We have so many things on the wall to read. Okay, we better stop. Baladev Prabhu is looking at his watch. Any other questions?
Prabhuji, thank you. In that verse you read that aho bacha so bacha gariyan. So it is mentioned that who is chanting holy name of Lord, even though he is low born, he has performed all austerities and tapasya. So one can question that how, if somebody is performed austerity, then how he is born in low family, because he has collected piety and everything.
Good question, but first of all, I mean, we have to understand that verse. It says chanting the holy name. It doesn't mean sleeping japa, like the tendency of devotees is, you know, they go after Mangalarti, everybody falls asleep chanting rounds. No, it's not that kind of japa. And it's not mechanical japa. It means really chanting the holy name seriously. So that's the first thing. When it says aho baraso pachitom, that means really chanting. Not our kind of chanting, but really pure chanting. But we see, we have, like, for example, Vishwakarma, he was saying, you know, I mean, there's so much things that can happen. We don't know what may be the past. Maybe we made some mistake. So therefore we're born in a particular family. Maybe we can see, at least in Lord Chaitanya's time, these great devotees, although they were great devotees, they took birth in different families. Like, for example, Lord Brahma took birth as Haridas Thakur in a Muslim family. Why would the Supreme Brahma take birth in a Muslim family? That seems like a pretty low birth. Can't imagine Brahma wanting to do that, but he did it. Maybe under the order of the Lord. Or sometimes they say Prahlad Maharaj is Haridas Thakur. But the point is that sometimes it's by the arrangement of the Lord that devotees may take birth in a low family, just to demonstrate that verse. Other times it's simply by some mistake that we made, or simply by progress of devotional service. One may be, like, for example, we're all engaged in chanting the holy name, but then we're not performing very properly, following 3.5 regulative principles, or chanting, you know, our rounds, but not attentively, and so on. So then we get what happens to us in the future. Take birth in a devotee family, or take birth in a different way, So then that's the category we end up in.
Hare Krishna. Oh, here we see that King Gadhi made a special demand, 1,000 horses as brilliant as moonshine. Is there any hidden meaning behind this demand?
Not that I know of, but I mean, it's obviously he's trying to put a high bar, because that seems like an amazing thing to ask a simple Muni. But he doesn't think the Muni is qualified to have. He doesn't think Richika Muni is a fit husband for his daughter. So only if this Richika Muni can perform some very, amazing thing that he's willing to give his daughter. If he suppose that Richika was simply a person like you and I, we can't do anything. We have no Brahminical power. And we go and we ask for the king's daughter. King is not going to want to give us his daughter. So he thinks this Richika is simply another person like you and I. But then Richika ends up being a great personality too. I was reading a little bit ahead, but let's see, what does it say? So anyway, the point was he wanted to make sure that this Richika Muni was qualified. So he set some difficult thing to perform. I mean, it's pretty difficult to make 1,000 horses with one black ear. I mean, that's a pretty difficult thing to do. I don't even see that many horses in this world with one black ear. That's a very rare thing. So he's trying to make a very difficult thing for him to do. But then because he's such a powerful person, he can fulfill that. All right, I think we better stop there. Granthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande Hare Hare.